So it's a full field pass progression for us. I'll start left to right. The thing about mesh is the simplicity of it, and it's all encompassing versus, we like it versus every coverage. There's different ways, different reactions by the receivers for each coverage. But starting over here with the X, no matter what, he's always gonna run a dig, basic dig at 12 yards. The thing that he's gotta know, and when you teach it to him, is he cannot be in a hurry. He's the third read on this progression, right? And you see the quarterback's progression, we'll talk about that. But he is the third read, so he's got to get his depth. We want to square this thing up, and you've got time, okay? You've got time to get in there late and win your route. Break point to catch point, win at the top, and make sure you get your depth. You don't want to be too shallow because you'll be right on top of the mesh. There's got to be some separation with the dig and the mesh, all right? And then looking at the Z over here, we have him on a choice route. Some people put them on out routes. You can tag that Z with whatever you want. We just have them on a vertical choice. First read by the quarterback, kind of a pre-snap read. Yes, no, but it's his first read. And then our two slots are on the mesh right here. And the thing about the mesh is we're going to keep our S on the top. And we have our guys slap hands. And here's the reason why. And they don't always do it, but when we practice, we want them to slap hands. And here's why. We tell them to slap hands. For one reason, it ensures a tight mesh, all right? If you slap hands, both of you guys, it's going to ensure that we're both in a tight mesh, which is what we want, all right? We want a tight mesh. We're slapping hands. There's not too much grass in between us, all right? The other thing is once we slap hands, it allows us to now we can react to man zone. So man coverage, we want to stay on the move. Zone coverage, we want to stick our foot and settle in that grass. The quarterback's going to place us away from the defender. We're going to drop, step, and get upfield. All right. Also, slapping hands, it allows the S is always on top, so he knows, hey, I'm always on top. We're slapping hands. I know what hand I'm slapping with, right? So we do tell our guys to slap hands. Slot will always be on top of the mesh. Once they slap, they can react to man zone. Also, it ensures a tight mesh, right? Man coverage, we want that tight mesh to try to get to some man rub routes right there. All right, and then running back, six-man pro, he's check swinging, okay? Quarterback, like I said, he's going to pre-snap that single. Yes, no, if he likes it, we'll start there. Then he's going mesh, dig, mesh, all right? And the thing about this, the concept is you can window dress it, you can marry it up, you can formation it, which I'll show you in a little bit. Everybody runs mesh in the country, but how do you execute it, right? What do you tag that single on, choice routes, out routes? That's up to you. But the thing is the mesh. Like, you've got to rep it. You've got to rep slapping your hands. You've got to rep the man zone reactions, because that's the key part. All right. If you can rep those things and they can read them right, then it's good versus any coverage. There's a lot of holes in it. And like I said, what I do like is it's easy for the receivers, easy for the quarterback, and you can window dress it how you want. All right. Here's another look at 3x1. Same thing. So S and T are still in the mesh. Remember, S is on top. We want to set that thing at about 6 yards, okay? Now, is that always going to be perfect? No, absolutely not. It's the T's job, or whoever's meshing with the S, it's his job to get underneath, right? We tell him, once you come off, it's your job to get underneath the S, all right? The S is going to try to set it at 6 yards. In a perfect world, doesn't happen, right? There's backers in there, there's everything. It's your job to get underneath the S. So we're still coming through. Boom. That's why we tell them to slap hands, okay? It's going to ensure that tight mesh, all right? So X is still in the dig. Remember, got to get your depth on that dig, right? Do not be in a hurry to get in there. Get your depth. It's a basic dig route. X angle's got to be flat, just like we talked about earlier, all right? But if you're too shallow on this, you're going to be right on top of that on the mesh. And there's no grass. There's a little bit of gray area for the quarterback right there. And then our Z, tag them whatever you want. DC route. You can put them on an out, a post, whatever you want, right? People across the country tag them different stuff. It's all successful, right? So 3x1 mesh, like I said, you can window dress this how you want. The read does not change for the quarterback. So just 2x2 right here. So now down here at the bottom, he should be on the vertical choice route. Up top, you got the dig, and you got your two meshers. Quarterback starts with the Z. First read, likes it, takes it. Okay, if he didn't like that, now he'd be coming to the mesh right here. Mesh, dig, mesh. So right now, the S is on top. He sets it at 6 yards, pretty good. I'd like to see him slap hands, right? So just talked about it, and it looks like the S is reaching, maybe not. Boom, so they slap hands. That ensures a tight mesh. Now they can react. Looks like zone coverage. And the thing about this, when they sit in zone, when they sit, we don't want to drift. We don't want to drift. We want to sit. Boom, I'm getting there. I sit. I want to define it and show my hands for the quarterback. Define it. Don't move. Okay, now he puts me here. I catch it. Drop step, get upfield, right? But if you're doing all this stuff, it's hard for the quarterback to know where you're at, right? So once we settle, zone coverage right here, we settle in the grass. If he were to get that, we would drop step, get right upfield. Great depth by the dig right there, too. You can see the dig. He's got his depth, and you can see the separation between him and the mesh. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another look at it. Same thing, 2 by 2. So got the vertical choice, mesh, mesh, dig. Same thing, he goes with the Z. So likes it pre-snap, going to take it. If he did not like that, then we'd go mesh, dig, mesh. It looks like man coverage right here. Maybe, yep. That's another thing too, is when you're running the things like, and that's why I say you got to rep this a lot. You got to rep the mesh part, and you got to teach these guys like man zone, all that. Like so, boom, I'm lined up. Is there a guy staring at me, straight at me? It's probably man coverage. Or is there a guy apex, eyes in the backfield, maybe zone? But one thing you got to know is, like I tell them, when you mesh, also peek up, because sometimes those safeties are driving you. It's man coverage, right? So peek upfield. So right here. And if it's man, once we slap hands, we know it's man, we want to slowly gain ground upfield. Great job route to block by that receiver on the mesh. So right here, here's why you want to have a tight mesh. So if they slap hands in a tight mesh, this guy's done. Like one of them, you're playing chicken. One of those defenders, he's going to come off and it's going to rub one of our guys straight free, right? So we want to ensure that tight mesh. Somebody's going to have to sacrifice himself. Boom, right there. You see him slap hands. So right now, doesn't like number 1, looks at him, first read. Then you ought to go mesh, dig, mesh. Great job by it. So zone coverage, tight mesh at 6 yards. Zone, he sits right there, define it. Now we got a tight turn and get straight upfield. Good thing right here, you see the dig and the separation right there. So if he didn't like that, this dig's coming right there. You got separation between the dig and the mesh. Quarterback ought to throw you away from the defenders. Got to trust him. Tight turn, drop step, whichever shoulder he puts the ball on. Right here, you can see it from this. Boom. Slap hands, sit right there, define it. I'd like to see him turn the other way. Quarterback puts it on his right shoulder. I'd like to see him drop step that way, turn up, get upfield. The thing about the mesh is you got to run. Be decisive, but run. Don't tiptoe, wondering what coverage it is, this or that. Run.